Welcome to Comics League Live. I almost messed up on that one. I'm Jared, and I'm here with Nick from Phoenix Press, as usual. Nick, welcome back.
Thank you for having me once again.
So today we are talking about, for a little bit more on a positive note, we're going to talk about our favorite comic book writers and artists, because we've been talking about a lot of Snyderverse stuff. So I just figured, you know what, let's do something else for a change. So,
mix it up a little bit.
Exactly. Because I don't want this to just purely be the Snyderverse show.
Yeah. I mean, obviously that's an important topic, but you know, you don't want it to be solely defined by a single issue.
Yeah, exactly. And that's why on the channel I cover other stuff other than the Snyderverse. So the way we're going to do this is, so do you want to do it like I do one, then you do one, or do you want us to go down our top five?
Let's kind of ping pong back and forth. That way it's kind of a little bit more evenly distributed with who gets to talk. I guess this is a communist stream now, so
yeah, of course, we have to redistribute the talking time. So Nick, you want to go first?
Sure. So we're talking about comic book creators, not strictly writers.
Not strictly writers. You can do a writer and an artist if you want.
Well, if that's the case, I'm probably going to go with an artist and writer team of Marv Wolfman and George Perez.
Oh my gosh, yes, dude. Crisis on Infinite Earths.
Teen Titans.
Oh my gosh, that was the dream team. Oh,
that got me into comics. Like, Teen Titans is what got me into comics, so I gotta give respect to that first.
Oh, absolutely. Particularly when you... that was back during the time when there was like so many people that actually looked like they loved the medium. And if there's one team that loved the medium, it were those two dudes.
Oh yeah. Like, both of them have like storied histories. Like, for example, Marv Wolfman is the guy who created Blade.
Hey, Daryl Taylor. But yeah, and it's like, remember, the one of the good things the CW did when they did Crisis is they had Marv Wolfman show up as a cameo.
Yeah, I thought that was kind of cool. It's like, well, we're a DC show, so obviously we can't get Stan Lee. Also, the fact that he's dead kind of hurts things. So, what we want a Stan Lee style cameo, so let's just get Marv Wolfman, and honestly, it worked.
Plus, you're doing Crisis, and he wrote Crisis, so
yeah. Okay. I imagine probably when they were filming it, George's health wasn't the best. Otherwise, they probably would have gotten them both there.
Yeah, that'd be fantastic. Can you imagine they both show up?
Yeah, like
he's just drawing as a terror comes across the sky, and he's like, "Oh, that's weird."
Yeah, like, did you ever see that one episode of Teen Titans, like the clip from Teen Titans Go, where they had them both on there? It was actually
they were on Teen Titans Go. I didn't know.
Yeah, that. The voices, like they were voicing themselves, and it was actually a really good like tribute to them. And
that's fantastic.
Like, say what you want about Teen Titans Go, they have their moments of brilliance.
Oh yeah, of course. So for me, I'm going to go with Jeff Johns and Jim Lee, because when they started that new 52 Justice League run, that's what got me into it. That was my first comic book series that I started collecting, dude.
I mean, just adding Jim Lee to anything is
yeah.
Good. Like,
he makes anything better.
Jim Lee, Frank Miller, you know, Jim Lee, Jeff Loeb. It's like anything with Jim Lee is a memorable run.
Well, yeah, and Jim Lee's art on All-Star Batman and Robin was like the only redeemable part of that storyline. So, but yeah, it's like Jim Lee is like one of the most fantastic artists I have ever seen. Then you add on like the DC scribe of Jeff Johns, and it's like you got yourself because he'll bring up like the most obscure thing from DC lore, like 50 years ago, and figure out a way to make it work well.
You want to know, like, I guess if we're going to talk about like really good combos with Jeff Johns, you got to bring up Ethan Van Sciver and Jeff Johns.
I just got Van Sciver Cyberfrog in the mail.
It's just you brought up Jeff Johns and you're bringing up
absolutely.
It's like because we had to bring
Green Lantern, Green freaking Lantern. Because he made Green Lantern into Star Wars, and you have all these different Lantern Corps.
Which is where it should have gone regardless anyway. Like, seriously.
Dude. Yes, I have many trades. But yeah, Jeff Johns and Ethan Van Sciver, that was because what Van Sciver does really well is like the little details and all the work. So it's like when they were...
He's like a 90s artist, but refined.
Yes, exactly. During the Green Lantern run, it was like the very beginning, and they show like all the different. It was like Hal, John, Guy, Kyle, and Kilowog. They were all fighting Parallax, and then they're all having their different constructs. And then Jeff Johns is writing about how they're very different. But then, Jeff Johns is writing about how their constructs are very different. But then also, Van Sciver is like copiously like drawing them to different. It's like if you look at like Kyle's, it's like a comic book writer because he's an artist. When you see like John Stewart's, it's more precise because he's an architect. Also,
one thing I really like about this current era of comics is we're kind of seeing kind of the culmination of like, obviously the 90s had really great art because the 90s is all about the artist. But the writing wasn't there. So that's kind of, so the writing wasn't there. So that's why things kind of falter a little bit. But now you're starting to see really good art with really good writers. I mean, you kind of saw it in the 2000s with the stuff with Jim Lee team ups, but you got like the Greg Capullo, Scott Snyder. I mean, I'm kind of stealing your thunder. I'll give you two more after this because I kind of stole some.
No, but dude, those are going to be mine too because it's like Scott Snyder and Greg Capullo. Let's talk about that for a second there. Court of Owls.
Yeah, that's a legendary team. Like, seriously, I think in history will go down as like Scott Snyder, Greg Capullo will kind of be said in the same breath as like Marv Wolfman, George Perez. In terms of like legendary like team ups, like
And they will be known as they will have their names on the pantheon of Batman creative teams like ever. Oh,
like Denny O'Neil, Neil Adams level.
Yes,
like
oh my gosh,
they're on that level of like honestly, I say like they're almost just as important as Denny O'Neil and the Adams. Like, what Denny and Neil did in the 70s, they did in the 2010s.
Let's not forget they were the first. As far as I know, they were the only creative team to have written 2 crises back to back. Let's face it, both metal books were crises, even if DC refuses to label them as crises. But first off, Daryl Taylor says my favorite comic book artists are Jim Lee, excellent choice. David Finch, yes. Garth Ennis. I've seen a lot of his work and I like his work too. Mark Silvestri.
Oh my God, Mark Silvestri. Oh my God.
Rob Liefeld too.
I want Mark Silvestri to do a cover for one of my books so bad. Like I actually looked up his commission rate. It's like $1,000, $2,000. Like
that's a crowdfund right there.
Yeah, I like that. That's like, oh, I'm doing a trade paperback and like, oh, help me crowdfund like Jim, he said he'd do it, for $1,000. Help me do it. It'll have, he said he'd do it, but I need to raise some money. That'll definitely, yeah. That's like trade paperback territory.
Speaking of dreams, so I'm going to a Comic-Con in July, and Jim Lee's going to be there, so I'm going to have him sign my X-Men #1.
I wonder how. Like, he's probably signed so many of those.
Yeah, I'm going to bring that one. My Snyder cut variant of Justice League that he did, and then this.
Ooh.
Justice League 12, baby.
Honestly, if I were to have something signed by Jim Lee, it would probably be Hush issue 1.
Oh yes,
because I love like that storyline of Hush is just so good, and the art is just
I chose this because it's an
iconic
event cover that got me into comics. I saw this on Facebook and I was like, I actually need to read this right now.
Yeah, that's a pretty iconic moment,
And then Dale Turner also added, David Finch helped Brian Michael Bendis on the New Avengers back in 2004.
Back when Bendis was still a decent writer.
Yeah, but it was kind of funny, and I say this multiple times. A lot of my Marvel books are Bendis because he is fantastic at writing Marvel, at least from my perspective.
He started out that way. He kind of got a little as he went on. But I will say Ultimate Spider-Man, the early Ultimate Spider-Man is really good.
Oh yes. Well, I'll put it this way. Yeah, this was in the golden age of Bendis, dude. When he was like throwing out those really badass events. And David Finch's art. I like about David Finch, particularly like if he drew like a character like Batman. It's like he can capture the darkness surrounding a character and like make the guys actually dark. Like he does shadows really well.
Speaking of Batman related artists, I got one. Scott McDaniel.
Let me see that.
He did a lot of the Nightwing books back in the early 2000s. What I like about his art is it's basically if you're coming from Batman the animated series, his art kind of slots perfectly in that because like they're cartoony but not silly. Like they kind of got a bit of a cartooniness to them, but like they're still serious. Zoom in, please. I mean that's not the best representation of them, but scroll down to one of the Nightwing covers.
Like that?
Yeah, like that. Yeah,
that was cool. Yeah, it's very animated.
Yeah, and that's another thing about Scott McDaniel is he was really good about showing the action shots, which honestly is a big inspiration for my comics.
Oh, really?
Like I keep telling my artists, like, hey, put more action in there. Like there's kind of a panel in issue 2, Turned Samurai, where they're fighting. It's like a single panel, but it's like he's weaving in and out, and that's a very kind of Scott McDaniel inspired thing. Because like Scott McDaniel, he'd show shots of Dick Grayson literally flipping through. He'd show like different parts of him. Probably one of my favorite panels that Scott McDaniel did is he did like the flipping, but it was a different costume of like Robin, and then like the different variations of Nightwing. Just such a cool progression. Like it's the kind of one of those shots you can only really make work in comics. And I really love how fluid either way he kind of depicts his action is. It's really kind of impacted how I direct my artists in my comics.
My other favorite, I have New Adventures Volume 1. I have Miles Morales and Ultimates Volume 2. Good choices. I love those. Now, another creative team that I love and that I actually covered one of their arcs on the show, the episode should be coming out tomorrow, is Grant Morrison and Howard Porter on their Justice League of America run. That's about the only... That's one of the few books that Grant Morrison has written that's actually understandable, because it's like when you look at Final Crisis, also good if you can understand what's going on. It's like, the heck did I just read?
Grant Morrison is literally a modern day Alan Moore. I mean, I think that's pretty obvious by now. Alan Moore without the angst to a degree.
A little bit, yeah, but also Alan Moore and Steve Gibbons, because you remember,
oh yes, I didn't want to say that. I wanted you to kind of bring that one up because that's another obvious one.
Watchmen. I'm like, come on, dude. Or it's like going back to Jeff Johns and Gary Frank on anything they do together. It's like Doomsday Clock, Superman. Also Jeff Johns and Jason Fabok from their Justice League run. Oh my, Fabok is one of my favorite. Like, God, there's a reason why I put him in the thumbnail.
How about the team of Frank Miller and Frank Miller?
Oh yeah, that's true. Frank Miller's art is interesting. It's an acquired taste. It's like him,
but for certain, like for example, his Daredevil run, I think his art was perfect for his Daredevil run.
Or for 300.
For 300, because he has kind of like a gritty, raw kind of style, and I think for 80s Daredevil and for the type of book Frank Miller was writing, his run of Daredevil is perfect. Like seriously, his Daredevil run is kind of like in my hallowed halls of like some of the greatest runs ever.
I got another creative team I can't believe we didn't mention. Mark Waid and Alex Ross from Kingdom Come.
That's because Mark Waid has really fallen, hard.
Well, at least the art from a Kingdom Come. The painting.
Yeah, I mean, literally all Mark Waid did was just fill in the dialogue bubble Stan Lee style. It's really, I mean, Kingdom Come is Alex Ross's book. Let's be honest.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
All Mark Waid just did like the Stan Lee style thing back. Same thing Stan Lee did back in the 60s. Where the artist pretty much wrote the book and he just kind of, okay, I think they should say this he just wrote in the word bubbles.
Yes, the Marvel style. I also love like Chris Claremont and John Byrne, their X-Men run.
Chris Claremont, Dave Cockrum.
Yes, or Chris Claremont, Jim Lee. It's like that was one of he was like, there wouldn't be an X-Men team today if it were not for Chris Claremont, I think.
Oh, another artist that's really kind of an unsung hero, especially nowadays, is John Romita Jr.
Yeah, that's true. I was about to bring up Frank.
He's still working in the industry at 65. I feel bad for him. But the fact, Witchblade. Oh my God, I love early Witchblade. Like honestly, the Top Cow stuff, like Witchblade, Angelus, even their Tomb Raider comic, that art is, it's so good. I want to do a book that has that style of art in it. can't afford an artist who can do it.
Oh, I got another one actually. How about Michael Turner for art?
Never heard of him.
All right, I'll put up it. You probably have seen it. It's like Jeff Loeb and Michael Turner. He did the book when they brought back Supergirl after Crisis on Infinite Earths. He actually did a lot of Top Cow books.
Wait, did you say Cole Turner?
No, Michael Turner.
Okay, because the Cole Turner just popped up in chat. It's kind of weird.
Yeah. Oh, hey Cole, what's up?
Like literally, you said a Turner.
I was like, wait a second here. I was like, Cole Turner. I know that person.
Yeah, it was just kind of weird. It's like it's kind of a speak of the devil kind of situation. It was hi Cole.
Here's Michael Turner.
Okay, I've seen that art. It's pretty good.
Yeah. I love the way he draws women, dude. He also
it's kind of like a Jim Lee-esque kind of thing.
He also did Fathom.
There's this one cover artist I've seen. Like he does like these kind of like he does art, but it's like very photorealistic. Like he did like a Catwoman cover where it's like, oh, I actually kind of get a little bit thirsty thinking about it. Let me
either share your screen or like drop in the chat and I'll put it up.
Yeah, just let me look it up first because like I know I can literally picture it in my head.
Oh, here's a great artist, Todd McFarlane.
we were really trying hard to avoid the obvious, weren't we?
Well, yeah. So actually, Cole asked a very interesting question. All right, Nick. Who's your favorite comic book artist of all time? Mine is Jim Lee. If you had to pick one artist, who would it be?
It's really between Scott McDaniel. Oh, it's a three-way tie. Scott McDaniel, Mark Silvestri, and George Perez. Those like I can't asking me to narrow it down beyond those three. I can't really do that.
My three are the ones I put in the thumbnail, as a matter of fact. Jim Lee, Fabok, and Van Sciver.
Those are all really good.
Those are all really good. Whether or not you agree with Van Sciver's politics is irregardless. The man can draw a comic book.
Yeah, that is with his skills are without question,
And if you hear him tell it, he's the one who came up with all the different lantern cores.
Yeah, I mean that is could be disputed, but I don't really have it one way or the other. I'm trying to find the artist. Like I'm looking through Google image searches and I can't find the cover in question.
In the meantime, what about you, Cole? Who's your favorite comic book artist? Oh, here's another one. Frank Whiteley. He drew like All-Star Superman.
Yeah, I like that art. It's kind of a bit avant-garde-esque and whatnot.
There's also Shane Davis. He did Superman Earth 1, which I definitely love the Earth 1 books. They're a bit more of like, they're essentially what would happen if Marvel established their own version of the Ultimate Universe.
Yeah, it's kind of weird. They never really did anything like that.
Because the books took forever to come out.
Oh, in terms of creators, what's the guy's name?
I have this to answer Daryl Taylor's question right there. I have Squadron Supreme. And then
do you have any All-Star Squadron?
No. I do have this little tome right here by Mark Grunwald.
Oh, speaking of Marks, we're forgetting a very important Mark Millar.
Oh, yes. Isn't he the dude that made it so Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver were having a relationship even though they're brother and sister?
Yeah, like Mark Millar, I mean, he has his moments of brilliance, but he's like the edgiest of edgelords, and it's he really did number on the Ultimates line. Like he's the guy who wrote the Captain America the A line, Yeah. But also, like honestly, if you read stuff like Kick-Ass, like it's actually pretty good, honestly.
I got another really, really, really good artist. I mean, a writer. This one's a writer this time. Ed Brubaker's Captain America. because that's where you have like the Winter Soldier makes his first appearance.
Oh, nice.
Because it's kind of funny, and my co-host Lad didn't know this. The Winter Soldier's like a really new character, because Bucky died, and it was kind of funny. There were 3 characters in comics that could never come back to life: Uncle Ben, Bucky Barnes, and Jason Todd. 2 of the 3 came back to life.
All right, I got one. This is a bit self-aggrandizing, but he does kind of count. Arvell Jones. I was mentioning All-Star
I
Squadron.
like that.
Yeah, so this is a guy who worked for Marvel and DC. He's actually the creator of the character Misty Knight.
Sweet.
And he's the cover artist for Turn Samurai issue 2. So that's kind of where the self-aggrandizing part
Hey,
comes
there you
in.
go. That's nice.
I kind of had to.
You got it, all right.
But there's another one I wanted to bring in.
Cole, are you talking about the writers who quit DC after the Batwoman show, or
no? This is another artist that I wanted to bring some attention to.
Mm-hmm.
His name is William Messer Loebs, or Bill Loebs.
Oh yeah, look at that! I've seen so many of his images for Wonder Woman.
Yeah, he's famous for doing Wonder Woman, The Flash. He actually does. I actually know him semi-person. Like, I see him a lot of conventions. We're on first name basis. You know, we know each other. Mm-hmm. Eventually wanting me to do some cover work, and honestly, I probably will. He's a really nice guy. He is like the nicest guy. You know?
I got another one. Mine's a Marvel artist, Mike Deodato Jr.
Okay.
I'll pull up his stuff for you.
I just wanted to shout out Bill Loebs because he's just like the sweetest guy, and I wanted to give him some promo.
This is the dude. You've probably most likely seen a lot of his Marvel work. Hang on. Let me share my screen real quick. Share screen. Here we go. You've probably seen a few of his Marvel books.
Can you zoom in a little bit?
Yeah. Let me do that.
Yeah, that's like Ultimate art, isn't it? It looks kind of like from like the Ultimates line.
It's not Ultimate. He probably did a few Ultimates books, but this is from mainline Marvel because he did a lot. He did the book for what was it? Infinity Wars, and this was the book that's only Infinity War in name only. It's not in any way related to the movie.
What about the people who did Immortal Hulk?
You mean Al Ewing?
Yeah,
I've heard that Hulk run is fantastic.
That's what I've been hearing too. Like I hear it's like the best Hulk run since like World War Hulk.
Mm-hmm. Nick, you want to answer this one? Do you have any Roy Thomas books?
I don't, sadly. I've heard the name, like in my conversations with Ravel, he's kind of mentioned him a few times. But yeah, I've heard of the name before. I'm assuming he's pretty good.
Roy Thomas art. I'm looking it up right now. Okay, so let me see here. He's done. Here's some Roy Thomas. Hang on. Let me pull this up. Sharing screen. How's that?
That is a lot of stuff that hard to differentiate. Zoom in a little bit.
Hang on.
Okay, yeah, I've seen some of that. That's kind of like quintessential Avengers kind of stuff.
Yeah. So it's like a lot of the classic stuff.
Like when you think of like classic Avengers runs, that's what you get.
Cole says Mike Rowe Comics has great deals at his comic shop if you're looking at buying more of them. We'll look into that. Let me see who else.
Getting back to Arvell Jones,
mm-hmm.
I actually have the cover he did pulled up.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, so this is the cover art for issue 2 that like we were talking about Arvell Jones earlier.
Mm-hmm.
This is the cover art he did for Turn Samurai issue 2. Currently in print, by the way. It's being printed as we speak, so that'll be hitting the people here soon. You know. But yeah, I just wanted to kind of show that off real quick. You know, it's not me here shilling stuff. It's just easy.
Sure,
it
isn't.
Like, I take my opportunities where I can. That's about all. You know.
Here's another writer that I think that you'll probably know, Dale Keown.
Oh yeah, I have heard his name in the circles. And we're talking about those kind of writers. What about Mike Barron?
Oh yes, Mike Barron, the Punisher dude, of course.
And then there's also Chuck Dixon, who I personally interviewed before.
Really?
Yeah, on my channel. There's an interview. He's the like my first live stream, I interviewed Chuck Dixon, talk about starting off with a bang.
Mm-hmm. That is quite a bang.
I was so freaking nervous because like Chuck Dixon is like a personal hero of mine.
Mm-hmm.
Like his comics really inspired me.
Mm-hmm.
So like to interview your hero, it turned out he was actually a really cool guy. It was such a great experience.
I felt like that when I got to interview the colorist Gabe El Taib, who did like the colors for like so many DC books. It was like, it's really, really nuts. And by the way, Daryl, we did talk about Michael Turner like a little earlier about it, and I think he founded Aspen Comics.
Mm-hmm.
So let's see I got another artist that writer that I can't believe we never mentioned, Jonathan frickin' Hickman.
Oh dear God, how could we forget him?
Dude that will set up some seemingly irrelevant detail early in the story, then somehow at the end of the story, that relevant detail will play into the storyline in such a great way. He's the type of reader you need an omnibus to fully get his story.
Yeah, Jonathan Hickman is definitely going to go down as one of the better writers in comics ever. So
I remember in the same way that Claremont revitalized the X-Men in the 90s, this dude, Hickman, revitalized the X-Men in the modern day, because remember how big like House of X, Powers of 10 was? I still have it on my shelf.
Yeah, I think part of that was Marvel was really de-emphasizing X-Men for the past 10 years or so, but now they have the rights to it. They're trying to bring it back in the forefront. It's like, okay, we're going to put some creative energy. All right, Hickman, you need to bring back X-Men. So it was more of like they allowed X-Men to come back. So
plus the fact that's where we get Hickman invented like the Black Order, and like he had two fantastic runs on Avengers and Fantastic Four, so they knew he could.
I bet Hickman got a big ass check from Infinity War and Endgame.
Oh yeah, don't be so.
You know, it's like if Ethan Van Sciver got enough to buy a car, Hickman probably got enough to buy a couple houses.
I love how people were freaking out after the Snyder Cut came out that he got a big check from the Snyder Cut because they used a bunch of his characters.
And I love how he said it's enough to buy a nice car.
Yeah, Hickman's works on Avengers. Yes, it was so good. It's one of those. And I like one thing I also love about Hickman is that he had these little codes that if you plug them in, they'll give you little bonus Easter eggs and content and stuff. Particularly with like the X-Men books. It's really cool because if you see like a scene that takes place on Krakoa and there's all these little symbols on the wall, in House of X Powers of 10, he gives you the alphabet so you can like translate those letters.
I love it when they do that. Like, for example, there's a language in the Chica language in Breath of the Wild, and like the text you can actually translate, and some of it's actually Easter eggs and whatnot. You know.
Yeah, I love that because I want to. That's one of the reasons why I love Zack Snyder's movies, because I love when creatives put so many Easter eggs in the book, because you can really tell they really love the universe and they want to really like. And when they make you work for those Easter eggs, it's not just like
it makes it all the more fulfilling. It makes it all the more fulfilling, and then that's something that I do in my writing. I love hiding Easter eggs, references, and just letting people figure stuff out, because it's kind of the journey to figure stuff out. That because like when you see it and you figure, because like as a writer, you want to make something to have the reader think, but not think too much, to the point where like, oh, I don't want to do it, but if you do it just enough where they have to figure it out, they get the whole sense of like, oh, I figured it out, I'm so awesome, kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly. You want the reader to actually feel like, okay, I actually accomplished something, which is why with like, take Zack Snyder or Jeff Johns or any of these writers, whenever they put in these Easter eggs, they do kind of like, they do it in a way where if you're not that much of a scribe of this stuff, it's like it goes right over your head and you're like, okay, fine. But if you really are like you and me or any of the people in our chats and you understand this stuff and you write it, I cover it all the time. They put it so you're like, I know what that is. That's so great.
Yeah, it's kind of like at the end of X2, where you got the shot over the lake and you got Jean Grey doing the speech. Then all of a sudden you see something kind of emerging from the water. And it's literally, I was actually in the commentary, they say, oh, fans will know what they're looking at.
Yeah, because even like as soon as I like started reading comics again and then I saw that movie, I was like, oh, now I see where the Phoenix came from.
And then they kind of drop the ball with the next film.
Yeah, I know, which is kind of funny because X-Men 1 was good. X-Men 2 was better. X-Men 3 sucked.
Well, a lot. As far as X-Men 3 is concerned, a lot of it was the director Bryan Singer. He went over and did Superman Returns. Like he said, he'd do it after he did Superman Returns, but they didn't want to wait. So they got Brett Ratner, who is like a shit tier director, to do it, and he just totally dropped the ball.
That's true. Going to what Daryl Taylor says, I love how Hickman made the X-Men public enemy #1 with the human governments and superhero teams. That's another thing that Hickman did. He literally said, okay, the X-Men are going to have their own nation. And anyone and they're going to be, I took it, he turned all the X-Men into anti-heroes, saying, if you mess with us, you're dead.
And it's not like there isn't historical precedent for a displaced group of people finding a home, especially after a world war.
Yeah. And it's like even in House of X Powers of 10, when Xavier declares Krakoa, he literally goes, we tried to live with you, you wouldn't do it, so you know what? You're going to live by our rules now. And then all the superhero teams are like, oh no. And this is like, after the X-Men kicked the ass out of the Inhumans in Avengers versus, in X-Men versus Inhumans, which, by the way, there's enough superpowered X-Men. There's enough like god tier powered characters on the X-Men that if they wanted to, they could destroy the Avengers and any other superhero team in Marvel. I would argue that.
Like who's the most powerful character on the Avengers? It's either Hulk or Thor. Really, that's really the only two.
Because the rest of them are just dudes with gadgets.
See, and this is kind of why, like, when you have like Justice League versus Avengers.
Yeah, exactly.
Like all 5 of the Avengers of the Justice League are top tier characters
that have the powers of gods.
Like Superman alone could probably solo the Avengers. Thor might give him a little bit of trouble. Because this is the thing that people confuse about Superman. They think, oh, Superman has weakness to magic. No, he just doesn't have a resistance to it. So you zap him with the lightning, it's going to hurt, but he's not weak to it, you know. Plus, that's why Black Adam is such a threat to Superman.
Yeah, and I'm like, beyond that, Wonder Woman.
Wonder Woman could solo the Avengers.
Absolutely. She could completely
Flash
can do it too. And if he fails, he'll just go back in time and do it again. Green Lantern. He just needs willpower. Oh, wait. Batman. Even though he doesn't have powers, I'm pretty sure Batman could figure out a way to defeat the Hulk and Thor.
Honestly, put him in a Hellbat armor.
Oh, yes. The Hellbat armor would just... Again, when you... that's what I always tell people. Justice League versus Avengers. Particularly when we're talking about the movie Avengers. Okay, so... movie Avengers versus Zack Snyder's Justice League.
Literally, they're like Wonder Woman is legitimately a demigod. Legitimately a demigod. So there's that. Superman is like
God. He's a god.
He's Jesus, but you know.
Yeah. Okay.
Flash is overpowered. Aquaman, while not as powerful as Wonder Woman, he's Aquaman might be the weakest member of the Zack Snyder's Justice League, but he's still he's still more powerful than.
Well, yeah, because it's like he's no pushover.
Like literally, the only 2, maybe 3 Avengers that could give him we're going classic lineup here would be Thor, Hulk, maybe Iron Man.
Oh, not even Iron Man. 100%.
Well, if he has one of his high, to be fair, Iron Man did go toe to toe with Thanos and did kind of bleed him a little bit. So I think.
But here's the thing.
Here's what's going to happen. They're going to trade a few blows, and then either Wonder Woman or Aquaman would be like, all right.
Well, I'd imagine it turning into.
They'll rip out the arc reactor.
Yeah.
You know?
I'd imagine it turning into Steppenwolf versus Superman in the Snyder Cut. Not impressed.
Though I will say, Thor could probably give Superman a run for his money because, getting hit with that hammer, that would hurt Superman.
And that's where you have Wonder Woman. So, and now, we're having a 3-way battle among the X-Men, Avengers, and Eternals.
Yeah, that's probably what would happen is you probably have Superman take on Hulk, which, yes, Superman could beat the Hulk.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
And
just throw him into the sun.
or just rip his arms off.
And Batman would 100% destroy Iron Man because all he needs is an EMP. And then even if Tony gets out of the suit, Batman is a better hand-to-hand fighter. I can tell you that right there.
I mean, if you had Daredevil with you, Daredevil could probably beat Batman in a fight. Daredevil is a better hand-to-hand fighter than Batman.
No, because here's why. Batman would have his little sonic device to overwhelm Daredevil's senses.
He'd have to know that first.
He would detect it and saying, okay, so he's blind. Bing!
Okay, fine. Throw an Iron Fist.
Iron Fist. Well, Superman.
No. If it's Iron Fist versus Batman,
Batman.
Iron Fist versus Batman, Iron Fist would win because
No,
Iron Fist is
it's
literally.
Batman has killed Darkseid.
But in terms of like pure martial arts, Iron Fist is literally the best martial artist in the DC universe, or at least one of them.
Well, in the Marvel universe, and Batman's the best, arguably, short of Lady Shiva, the greatest hand-to-hand combat expert in DC. So,
but also Iron Fist has the fist, so it's.
And Batman has two fists.
I'm just gonna say this: if it's a sparring match, Iron Fist would win every time.
Probably, yeah. And then that's
like
straight
out like brawls. I give it more 6-4. Like Iron Fist might win 6, but Batman would win at least 4.
But here's the thing, and then if Batman's about to lose, they go, Clark, handle this for me. Right there.
Or honestly, Aquaman or any.
Hey Barry, put him in. Bring our friend here to Kunlun. But yeah, I see what you're going. But it's like so many people are. Even before the Snyder Cut came out, we're like, who?
You know what I would do?
What?
I put MCU Spider-Man versus Aquaman because that's kind of an even match.
MCU Spider-Man versus Aquaman.
I put my money on Spider-Man because strength-wise, he's about on par with Aquaman, maybe stronger. But also, Spider-Man has more maneuverability. He's probably the better fighter, and he's also smarter.
But you saw what happened when he fought that Hydro Man in the second Spider-Man movie.
Which one?
The one with Mysterio. He got defeated.
That was a hologram, though. No,
but it's still... Yeah, I see what you're saying there, but still, involved water.
But that was like a giant kind of thing. This is
Aquaman would just summon the Kraken and then crush the little spider underfoot.
Well, the thing is, Spider-Man has his let's just call it the tingle, Spidey sense, and he can also, he has not necessarily fly, but he just get out of the way.
Well, then that's true, but here's the thing.
Spider-Man is very hard to hit. I think we can agree on that.
But here's the thing. We're acting as if it's just one-on-one fights where we're dealing with the entire Justice League versus the entire Avengers.
Because that's the thing. If you put the Justice League versus Marvel, Justice League is going to win. I'm trying to make it more interesting.
Yeah, that's true. I see what you're doing there.
It's a curb stop. It's a freaking curb stop. There is no winning for the Avengers, so I'm trying to make it more interesting.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the thing. And I get that Marvel wants more grounded heroes, and you know what? That works for them. But when people are saying who would win this or this, and I'm like, oh.
Yeah, that's why I always love to bring like the Goku versus Superman fight.
Superman.
Because I think Death Battle put it best. Goku is a character who is designed to break limits. But there's nothing he can do against a character that literally has none.
Yeah, I'm like, you throw Superman to the sun, he becomes super powered.
Yeah, and if worse comes to worse, just bring back Superboy Prime, a character who literally punched reality.
And it's brought back to life. He punched him back to life.
Because Goku's strong, but he's not multiversal strong.
No.
Maybe like solar system, galaxy, universe, galaxy-wise strong, but he is not multiverse level strong. Whereas Superboy is like right on the cusp of being multiverse level strong.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. I would 100% agree with you on that. So, yeah, 100% because it's like...
And I know people like to bring up Spirit Bomb, but like, do you realize how long that thing takes to charge up? And that includes people willing to help you out.
And then you have Superman who moves at super speed, and he's gonna Yeah.
Yeah,
Particularly if we're dealing with the Zack Snyder's version of the Justice League that are very loose on that no killing rule. That doesn't exist in DC. First off, I'm just going to tell you that right there.
Like literally, let's take Diana from Wonder Woman against Goku. She would, because Diana does have her like limited super speed in her own.
Yeah,
of
course.
She would probably either take her sword or just her fist and punch the gut, and it would just have that classic gory shot.
And then if he blasted her with like energy, it would turn into like when Ares blasted her with lightning. Remember, she just absorbed it and just threw it right back at him.
She literally took the energy blast from a god and dissipated it.
Yeah, it was like
a literal god.
Poof. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and doing that with Goku. Like, probably here's how the fight would go. You know, energy wave, boom, Goku's on his butt, and then the sword against his throat. He's like, "Wow, you're really strong. Want to go get hot dogs?"
Yeah, I could. No, what I want to see is Goku versus Shazam, and then at that point in the battle, Shazam's like, "Okay." You can see them just hanging out, just playing Xbox.
Yeah, that's kind of one of those things where it's like, oh, Superman versus Spider-Man. Like, they might trade a few blows, but after they got talking, Clark would hire Peter to be his photographer for the Daily Planet. That's how it would. That's how the fight would end.
Jimmy's like, "What the hell, dude?"
Well, Jimmy's Lois's photographer.
Oh, okay.
But, or at least that's how it would go.
But yeah, that is true though. Is that if it was JLA versus Avengers, they'd actually fight for a little bit and then become best friends.
Yeah, it's like, you know, Spider-Man and Superman, and he's like, and Spider-Man be like, thank you for giving me a job, thank you.
And then Tony Stark and Batman are like, "Okay, so want to go see what I spend my millions on? I have a cave and a butler and my own car, and I've killed a god."
Yeah, that's actually kind of a more interesting conversation, like how two characters, like, a fight notwithstanding, like how they'd interact, you know.
That would be my
like, I just want to see like the anime Avengers versus Justice League crossover. You know, like, you ever see that?
It's not even a fight. It's like just them hanging out.
They're just trying to outspend each other. Like, I'm rich. No, I'm rich. You know, it's like,
I saw this one great meme.
I got this.
I saw this one great meme. It's Batman and Iron Man's just his thing right next to each other, and Iron Man has like dollar bills like hanging out of his armor. You know, Stark, Batman.
Yeah, that's the one I was thinking about referencing.
Yeah, that would be. But yeah, that would be my JLA Avengers crossover. It's just them just hanging out.
Yeah.
Superman is hanging out with Sentry and Hyperion, going, "You guys are basically copies of me, right?"
Also, Thor and Wonder Woman would have an arm wrestling contest.
Oh yes. Now the question is, who would win? Wonder Woman. And
you know what? Thor would be fine with it, because he's like, "I have been beaten by the best. There is no shame in that."
Yeah. Oh, you know what? Here's a Marvel DC crossover I really want. All right, you ready? Oh, wait. Vegeta versus Black Adam would be crazy.
Oh my God, yes.
All right, here's my Marvel DC crossover. You ready? JLA Squadron Supreme. So pretty much Justice League and Justice League. Did I tell you about how I first discovered the Squadron Supreme? It's a funny story. So I'm FaceTiming Lad, my co-host, and then he's like, "You know, there's literally Marvel's version of the Justice League, right?" And I'm like, "Wait, what?" And this was when they redesigned the costumes of the Squadron Supreme. And I want to show you something. Look at the design here for Power Princess and tell me what's interesting about it.
It is literally a Wonder Woman costume.
It is literally a Wonder Woman costume, but just black. Isn't that is the most hilarious thing I think here. The other ones look pretty much like it's similar characters but different. That is literally Wonder Woman.
Oh, so thinking Jean Grey meets Miss Martian.
Oh yes, that would be so great. Oh, Emma Frost meets Talia al Ghul.
Who can seduce Batman first?
Probably Emma Frost, because she can mind control him into liking her.
Mind controlling is not allowed.
I can see Wonder Woman fighting Power Princess and Batman fighting Nighthawk. Of course, because they're the analogs. There you go. That works.
Oh, I got something for you.
What?
Dark Claw.
Oh yes, I want to see a Dark Claw movie. That's the next. I want them to make a movie.
No! I got the perfect crossover.
Go.
Spider-Man 2099 and Batman Beyond.
Beyond, yes, exactly. I saw all you had to say was Spider-Man 2099, and I was like, and crossover. I'm like, okay, that's the one that's always proposed, and I think that'll be really cool.
Yeah.
Watch their fighting in Spider-Verse 2, and then all of a sudden you see like Batman Beyond just fly.
I mean, that'll never happen.
Never happened, but that'd be hilarious. And it's in the Bruce Timm animated universe.
So speaking of Spider-Verse, I think they did announce that Japanese Spider-Man is going to be in the next movie.
He's gonna have a Tommy gun and leopard on. He's gonna be killing people.
I don't think he had a Tommy gun in the live action.
He did,
but like because like Leopardon was because Sudipamon was in the comic, so you know
he shows up. They go into the portal to that universe, and all of a sudden, Spider-Man comes on screen.
No, they got to do the subtitles. Like I can just see in that kind of universe, it's like he's speaking in subtitles, and they like actually make a comment. Like I can like where he just says, "Read the subtitles." Like, dude, what? I can't understand Japanese, and he just looks down and says, "Read the subtitles."
It's like in Austin Powers when he goes, "Read the subtitles." That'd be so great. They need to be really self-aware with that. And then Deadpool pops up and goes, "Oh, I know what he's saying." Wait, actually, here's a better idea. Deadpool cameos in this movie, and neither Spider-Man understand what Japanese Spider-Man is saying, and Deadpool perfectly understands it. And they're like, "How do you understand Japanese?" He goes, "I read the subtitles."
Okay, but question: who's voicing Deadpool? Is it Ryan Reynolds or
Must
Nolan
be
North?
Ryan Reynolds. You kidding me?
No, Nolan North, because Nolan North did Deadpool in the animated stuff.
Okay, but
two Deadpools.
Okay, you could do the animated Deadpool.
Also, I really want the '94 Spider-Man to show up and have the original voice actor voice him.
Oh yes, I remember. I grew up on that show, dude.
And then, like, you start to hear the do 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 do, you know, like just that whole thing. Or like they're swinging through. It's like why is the city just CG? You know, like just make all you know like.
Okay, let's see. Ethan Van Sciver, Fabok, and Reyes. Ivan Reyes. How the heck have we not talked about him? He did the art for Blackest Night. And he was unfortunately saddled with Bendis' Superman.
Oh,
that was the only redeeming quality of that book. And I'm like,
he must have drawn the short straw on that one.
DJO, you have some good taste in artists. I will tell you this.
Speaking of artists we haven't mentioned yet, Jack Kirby.
Oh my gosh, yes, and
we are
writer too, because he invented the fourth world. it's like yeah, Stan Lee, Jack Kirby, but mainly Jack Kirby, because when you look at like he did like what he did at Marvel, and then he decided
Jack Kirby goes all the way back because he was part of Captain America. Joe Simon, Jack Kirby.
Yeah, and then he showed up, and then DC told him create, do whatever you want. We will not interfere. And then he gave him
the thing is, by that point, Jack Kirby was already a legend. So it's like, all right, we know you're a legend. Anything you like, you could literally do a book about Superman defecating and would sell millions of copies. Yeah. So just go ahead.
It's in the shape of an S. It always comes out in the shape of an S.
No. Are you saying Superman's butthole is like an ice cream cone dispenser? Because I'm okay with that.
Yes, but it's like then he invents like this epic like fourth world like high fantasy stuff with the gods and like Ragnarok, and then he creates was possibly the most terrifying supervillain of all time, Darkseid.
Darkseid, the darkest of them all.
Yeah. How about this? How about I just thought of the name. It's like, how about Dan Jurgens for Death of Superman?
Yeah, that's a pretty good one. Who did the Batman, the Bane one, Nightfall storyline?
Let me see.
Also, Daryl has a good question. He just put in chat.
Here's a good question for you: Bat Family versus Street Level Defenders, Daredevil, Jessica.
Defenders easily. Defenders easily, because the Defenders are actually superpowered, where most of the Bat Family.
But my question is Batman included in this fight? Because if it's just the members of the Bat Family, yes, the Defenders win. If it's Batman, then I have to give it to the Bat Family.
I don't know, because even with Batman, there's only so much. Because like these are people with actual powers. Like, sure, Batman
took out the Justice League. Tower of Babel.
Okay, we need to kind of reorient this. Is it more of a come through a portal, let's fight, they don't know anything about each other? or is it do you give Batman prep time? Because that's
Well,
where that's how he
here's the
defeats
thing
the
on the
Justice
prep
League is the prep
time.
time.
Batman would probably go, okay, so they have powers similar to the League. Well, I'll just use the plans for the League.
Because the thing about DC characters, they always have one glaring weakness that you can exploit.
That's
Marvel
true.
characters, not so much. Like obviously, Daredevil, even in a fight, Batman could figure out, okay, he uses sound, Sonic disable him, but like someone like Jessica Jones, like what do you just throw alcohol at her face? Like even she's not
throw alcohol. That's great. I love that.
Luke Cage. Like you literally gotta like go through, hit him in the eyes, like
Red Hood versus Punisher. Punisher. As much as a DC fan I am, I'm gonna give it to Punisher.
I'm gonna say Red Hood because Red Hood is trained by the Batman.
No, but here's the thing: Punisher has access to more weaponry, and he's a Marine Corps sniper.
Red Hood was trained by the Batman. Because if it's just like a sniper battle, then that because the
Punisher took out the Marvel Universe in an Elseworld story.
But you also got to realize, because let's just kind of say it's like a rooftop fight where they're shooting at each other. Red Hood's skill set is better for sneaking around, ninja, coming up unopposed, and also close quarters combat. Whereas as a Punisher, he has more weapons training. He's a soldier. I think the skill set of Red Hood is better suited for like a rooftop one-on-one battle.
That'd be cool. And it turns out like it did in the Daredevil series.
Yeah, that's actually a good comparison because Daredevil also has a very kind of similar kind of skill set, and Daredevil is able to best the Punisher.
That's true. That's true because here's the thing: the Punisher is a little bit more blind rage, kind of like the Hulk in that sense, where Red Hood is able to like very distinctly pinpoint on a target. Yeah,
like Punisher is a soldier. That's a mindset, and it's like whereas Red Hood is more stealth, ninja. Take them out before they even know you're there, kind of thing.
Jason Todd trained by Batman, the League of Assassins. All right, I'll give you that. You have convinced me that.
Like Talia could very easily take out. I mean, honestly, all she had to do is say, "Hi, here's my boobs. By the way, here's a knife to your throat."
Yeah, exactly. Let's see. I have a good creative team: Charles Soule and Tony S. Daniel for Superman, Wonder Woman.
Dear God, that art is gorgeous.
I know it's Tony Daniel is the man. Hang on, I'll put in Tony Daniel art. I hope I spelled that wrong. If I didn't, then fine. But here's like some of his Justice League art. Look at that.
Oh,
he's one of my all-time favorite artists like ever. I love the way he draws faces.
Hey, I got an artist for you. Let's see here. Have you ever heard of Mike Mayhew?
No, I haven't.
All right, let me share the screen. He's going to become your new favorite artist.
Zoom in a little bit. Oh, wow.
Yeah, he does like cover stuff. He's kind of like a.
He reminds me a lot of Alex Ross.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Like, look at his stuff. Like,
it looks very realistic. Jeez. I'm like,
yeah.
Did you just share a photo?
Yeah, look at that.
Oh yeah. That She-Hulk show actually looks not bad if they fix the CGI.
Like, here's one for him doing Supergirl.
Yeah, Supergirl looks so crazy with those eyes.
Baroness.
Yeah. Let's see what I would say. Fans were pissed that they made Superman one over a couple.
Like he does, which is like his Mystiques, like the Mystiques art he does. Is, oh my God, his Mystiques are so good.
Which Daryl, that gets into one of my problems with comic book fandom is that they tend to say, okay, DC just does the same thing over and over and over again. But when DC makes changes, the fans freak out.
Like, look at that! Look at that!
Oh yes. What's actually really interesting is that if you look at the sales for Superman, Wonder Woman, it sold very well. Like, extremely well. And DC sabotaged it so they could, like, wipe the couplage from existence. But it's kind of funny. Oh man, that just looks so good. But what's funny is, Nick, stop distracting me. I'm trying to tell a story. But what's funny is DC like eliminates it from continuity, right? With Superman Reborn. Then they immediately reference it in continuity. Oh man. Oh man.
I'm sorry. I'm evil.
Dude, I'm trying to tell a story and you're distracting me. But yeah,
I'm just
exactly.
being an a-hole.
It's one of the artists that you see a lot of, but you never knew the name. I thought that was an Alex Ross piece with She-Hulk going up the stairs. Jeez. Let's see.
I'm just being an a-hole. Just like...
Yes, you are. You very much are. But that's no different than usual. All right, so.
Hey.
Oh boy. Don't be getting my stream taken down with too much spiciness.
I mean, they're all covered up, so it's fine. I mean, if I start showing you boobs, like, okay, I'm pretty sure that's Taylor from Pretty Reckless right there. Like, seriously, that face is Taylor from Pretty Reckless.
There was a Joker Harley book.
I mean, probably a lot of them.
Oh wow.
Oh, I like these. These are kind of cool.
Oh,
look at this one.
Oh boy. I have a good comic book writer for you. Keanu Reeves.
Yeah.
His Berserker book was
Look at this page layout. Like, dear God.
Oh man. Oh, that is so cool. The way her face acts as a border.
Yeah. And like it's being sucked in. I actually really like open panel layouts, but they're really hard to do well.
Yeah,
like they're really hard to do.
It seems so that they'd be really difficult. Thank you for distracting me from my story time.
You are most welcome, good sir. But hey, on the plus side, you got to look at some pretty pictures.
Yeah, that's true. I'm not like complaining. Now, let me ask you this: we talked about our favorite DC and writers. Who's your least favorite writer first? We'll start with writers. Mine is Bendis on DC.
Let me
in chat. Also
Philip
drop
Hester.
in the chat.
Philip Hester is probably my least favorite writer. He's the writer who kind of finished out the original Nightwing run, and my God, was his writing was so bland and so freaking uninspired. It was such a chore. Like the art was decent, but like Philip Hester and whatever Parks, whatever.
And Daryl Taylor has another excellent comment. Mystique and Emma Frost are my two favorite X-Women because they're willing to make sure the job gets done. Yes, that's one of the reasons why I love Emma Frost so much. Let me ask you this, Nick. Were you a fan of Cyclops and Emma Frost being together, or were you more of the classic Cyclops Jean Grey? Me, I was more in line with Cyclops and Emma Frost. And what's kind of funny is also, when you also bring in Namor into the mix, he was a douchebag. He was constantly making moves on other dudes' women. I'm like, dude, respect.
Well, the thing is, as the master of the high seas, he can make sure anyone stays wet.
Dude, this is a PG stream, but that was so good.
That towed the line well enough.
But yeah, it's like, that's one of the reasons why I hate Namor so much. He's a total D-bag. I feel like eventually, if he encountered Wonder Woman would eventually just throw him into a mountain and say, "Stay away from me, perv, and wear some pants." I love
it's like I had to deal enough with this. I had to deal enough of that kind of crap 50 years ago. With Batman kept putting his Robins into little bikini briefs and pixie boots, but no.
Yeah. Oh, I do love how the X-Men books now are hinting that they're going to put Jean with Wolverine and Scott with Emma Frost. It's like they're like, okay, let's just do it this way. This is like
it's what the fans want.
Yeah, because when you think about it, because here's the problem with
Jean Grey really wants to ride the wild animal. You did not see that coming, did you? You did not see that coming.
I did not see that coming, and that was set up perfectly. Excellent work. But anyway, I'm sorry. That is still like that was fantastic. But it's
She
like
wants to tame the savage beast.
stop it. But
she only wants one claw out at a time.
but anyway, so getting back to this, it's like the problem with Jean Grey is that she won't stop dying.
Well, see, the thing is, Wolverine is really the only one who can, Jean Grey, she tends to burn who she touches. Luckily, Wolverine can heal.
Remember that scene in
That makes for some really hot. That makes for some really hot alone time, if you know what I mean.
Well, remember in X3 when he's walking up the stairs to kill her, she keeps blasting him. He just keeps healing. And plus the fact, and when you look at Emma Frost, she's sarcastic enough so it's an entertaining back and forth. And yes, she's willing to do what's necessary. Plus the fact, since Scott's the hero, he introduces her to that more heroic side because remember, she started off as an X-Men villain.
Yeah, they kind of pull each other. It's like Scott kind of pulls her more back into the light, and whereas Emma kind of pulls him away, where he's not so much a goody two shoes anymore.
Well, yeah,
they make each other more rounded characters.
Yeah, and that's part of what makes it so cool, though. And plus,
Scott, it helps that Emma Frost also has two very round things of her own.
And plus, yes. She's like Wonder Woman. I call her the Wonder Woman of the X-Men because of her costume.
You mean the Power Girl of the X-Men?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, definitely Power Girl. I also love it was this fantastic moment.
I love how all these writers have been trying to justify the boob window. Like, we need a reason. It's like, and I love how like one writer be like, she's like, I just wanted to show my things off. What's wrong?
Yeah, I love where there was the scene, the X-Men are fighting a Celestial, and then Emma's arm gets like blasted off when she's in diamond form. So she has to like de-diamond in order to use her mental power. So she tells Namor, grab my arm. And then he goes, at last. And he goes, not, and she goes, not affectionately, you idiot. And I'm like, I love it. But
if Namor was in real life, he'd get Me Too'd so fast.
Oh my gosh. He'd essentially be the Deep from The Boys.
Sorry, when you say that, I think of that scene where the woman kind of did the thing to his gills, which,
no. That's traumatizing.
Yeah.
It's like, that's why I hate Namor as a character. When you think about it. It's like, okay, Susan Storm, she's married. Emma Frost, she even tells him, I'm in a relationship, you idiot. I'm like, plus, I love how Emma Frost calls everyone darling, even if she's not dating them. It's so funny.
That must be the Southern in her.
Yeah, probably. I kind of read her. The voice I use in my head is like a mix of like a high aristocratic British person with a tinge of Southern for the darling part. Because she seems like one of those characters that'd be played by like a British actress a little bit, right?
Yeah.
She's a little bit more high society. I love how she, by the way, she comes from a group called the Hellfire Club, which was pretty much like an erotic dance club.
Now I want Emma Frost to be played by Billy Joe Piper. Thanks. Billy Piper. Doctor Who, the first companion.
I don't watch Doctor Who.
Oh.
I'm not a fan of Doctor Who. I'm not a fan of Doctor Who and Harry Potter. That's not my thing.
To be fair, some of the companions are actually pretty cute. So
I can't wait to see Namor in Black Panther 2. That's another thing. I love how they're changing Namor's origin, but in their defense, they don't want to get confused with Aquaman because they're pretty much the same.
Yeah. It's like, why can't it be just like an underwater kingdom and just not call it Atlantis?
Oh, by the way, speaking of Marvel DC crossovers, I could see Aquaman and Namor having a battle to see who could rule Atlantis. And
also, the fact they haven't announced Storm showing up in Black Panther 2, in my opinion, is a crime against humanity.
Well, yeah, because they got married at one point, and then they got. I love how they're married, and then the way he tells her that that they got a divorce, and she goes, the high priest dissolved our marriage this morning, and she goes, but you're the high priest, and he goes, yeah, I love that. That's so good.
I mean, honestly, Storm and Black Panther, they just make sense as a couple.
Yeah. By the way, if they were to do an Avengers X-Men movie, I would want it to be AVX, like legit AVX. Just do that.
As long as you can keep Simon Kinberg away from the script and have, you should be fine.
Yeah, exactly.
Because here's the thing about because Simon Kinberg wrote X-Men 3. You know what movie he also wrote? Dark Phoenix. Like, how the hell do you get the guy who wrote the worst X-Men movie to write another Phoenix movie? Like, seriously.
And it was kind of funny. The movie he wrote that failed was a Phoenix movie.
And he also directed it for,
Mm-hmm. I wish they'd fire the Q dude who do One More Day in the... Oh, One More Day. He's gone.
He left.
He just left Marvel. So let me ask you that, Nick. So we'll end talking about this. Do you think that now that Quesada, the Q dude, now that Quesada has left Marvel, do you think they're going to eventually reform the marriage?
Maybe. I can tell you one thing. You're going to see a lot more smoking.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Like I guarantee you in the next few months, Wolverine's going to light up. The Thing's going to get a cigar back,
Nick Fury's going to have a pipe or something like that.
Because honestly, I think I watched a couple comics by Perch videos where they talk about this, and it's
Perch.
Yeah, and it's like Marvel seems to have this kind of fixation with keeping Spider-Man at a certain point of his life, post high school, college years kind of Spider-Man. But then you have a Spider-Man PS4 where you had post college Peter Parker, a little bit more older, instead of him being early 20s, he's more like late 20s, early 30s maybe. And people resonated with that so much. Mm-hmm. We need to see. I'm not saying we need to make Peter Parker age until he's an old fuddy-duddy, but he's kind of.
Can you imagine geriatric Peter Parker? That would be so funny.
To be fair, how old is Tobey Maguire? And he came back
No, but legitimately geriatric, like Val Kilmer age Spider-Man.
Val Kilmer's not that old.
Or let me see. No, Aunt May age Spider-Man as an Aunt May in Sam
Raimi. Val Kilmer, 62 years old. So okay.
He was fantastic in Top Gun Maverick, by the way.
Did you know for that voice scenes they actually took his old voice clips, fed it into a program, and that's how they did that? Because
it's all Val Kilmer. That was just so good.
It's so beautiful that they actually wrote it into the script, his disability.
So it's not like all of a sudden he can't speak.
And it's it's been 30 years and he's the fleet commander. It's okay, he's dying from cancer. He's okay, sure, that makes sense. Oh,
by the way, spoilers for Top Gun.
Which, by the way, that's an amazing movie and that film is doing really well. That film is going to send shockwaves through Hollywood.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if we see more less woke movies now.
Because honestly, Top Gun was anti-woke. It's okay, it had a female pilot in the squadron, but there's already female pilots in the military, so it's not it's unrealistic.
Here's the difference: she wasn't automatically for no reason the best pilot.
And also, it's they made sexist jokes against her, but she shut them down herself by being a good pilot.
There you go. And she went back and forth with them too, with her own emasculating insults. So
she could dish it out and she could take it.
Yeah, that's how you get good characters. Not just having it Captain Marvel and they're making jokes about her and she's all of a sudden gets god powers.
Yeah, I still haven't seen Captain Marvel and I probably won't. I'm watching Obi-Wan. It's not good. I'm kind of
episode 3.
It's getting frustrating.
But dude, don't watch Captain Marvel. You don't have to watch Captain Marvel. I love how they tried to make it saying it was required reading for Endgame, but literally you could have skipped that movie and the only thing is Captain Marvel shows up. That's all you have to know.
I mean, she hardly does anything in those 2 movies anyway.
I love how they hyped her up as she's going to be the one to take down Thanos, and Thanos just headbutts her away and then ends up being Tony Stark.
I'm trying to think. And the thing is, Wanda actually gave Thanos more of a hard time than
Yeah, exactly. I hate life stories, Peter, as he sucks as a husband to MJ. Yeah, that's another thing. Whenever they do like stories about the marriage between Peter and MJ, he's always an a-hole.
Yeah, that's kind of why like I really like the PS4 interpretation of it because like
Yes.
they were they're kind of getting back together, but then you have like I really like the whole black cat stuff because like where she says, "Oh, I have a kid," and she kind of implies that it's Peter's kid. Where it's like I really like how he's honest with her, like, "Hey, black cat's back and she has a son." But like it's like obviously MJ's upset at first, but at the time they weren't together, so it's like of
I
course.
also love how that game's coming to PC, and I'm gonna play the crap out of that
Oh, me
game.
too.
Oh, heck yeah.
I was very happy.
PC, I was like, oh, thank you, Lord.
I thought that would never happen. I like literally, I'm buying that day one. I'm gonna pre-order.
Oh yes. No, that is not one you wait until for like no. I am buying that the second it comes out.
Oh, for sure.
I have an ultra wide monitor on my other desk. I'm gonna play the crap out of that game.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I got my gaming laptop that I know I can play it, so I'm good.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I can play it on my gaming laptop over there that I use for work.
I mean, my panel, I have a 240 hertz refresh rate panel, 1080p, so it's gonna look good.
It's gonna look really good. I'm just so when that came out like the other day, that news, I was like, thank you, comic gods.
I thought that wasn't gonna happen because like Sony's been porting their stuff over. I thought we weren't gonna get it
for the longest time. I've always said, why couldn't we get a Spider-Man game? And then guess what? They announced that like Xbox passed up the license, like idiots.
Also, mods.
And also mods. That's gonna be really funny.
You know what? Like I can see some of the mods. Oh, so here's a mod that you don't have to do the stealth sections.
Yeah, you could just walk. They'll do a mod of him being like the 8-armed spider, the Spider's man. And stuff.
That's a tip of the iceberg.
Yeah, that's definitely a tip. I'm sure
especially with like the whole costume things. Just imagine like the amount of costumes that they put in there, like
a few not safe for work costumes.
or like just imagine
they'll do like a female Spider-Man, but it's the same voice actor, so it's like a male voice on a female body.
Or like maybe they put in some like DC characters, like you're swinging around as Batman or whatever.
As Nightwing too, that'd be funny. It just turns into an Arkham game. They just mod it into Arkham.
Or you're swinging around as CJ from Grand Theft Auto San Andreas.
Yeah, or they'll just have like Avengers characters just show up and just fly away and stuff. That'd be hilarious.
Superman shows up for no reason.
Yeah, that's the Marvel DC crossover.
I just can't wait for some of like the crazy ones, like, oh, we put CJ in here. Oh, you're Trevor, and we actually put voice clips from Grand Theft Auto 5. And
it's like you're playing Spider-Man, and all of a sudden Trevor's dropping the F-bomb and all that stuff. And it's like, what the hell are you playing?
Or like just random people walking. It's like you got Trevor, CJ, Sora from Kingdom Hearts is there.
It turns into like into essentially Wreck-It Ralph with like all the pop culture characters.
Have you looked into some of the GTA 5 mods? They got some really good mods for it. Like you can play as the Flash, Superman, Magneto.
Yeah,
it's really sweet.
They also have one we can play as Doomsday. That was dope. But anyway,
Godzilla.
Oh yeah, you could. Did you see that they added Godzilla and King Kong to Warzone?
Of all the games to get it, I don't understand.
I don't. I'm like, why?
How does that even work?
It's like they'll be attacking like everyone on the map, and then if you like shoot them enough, you get to direct their attacks. And
I mean, that sounds kind of cool, I guess. Like, I always thought it'd be cool to have a game where you're playing as like a random civilian during like those monster attacks. I mean, I think there's a few of those out there, but like that just sounds like a really cool game.
And the only objective is survive.
Yeah, even if it's just like a sequence during a game, I thought that'd be cool.
I would love if there was like an Injustice style game, but it's just all the monsters, like the Cloverfield monster, Godzilla, King Kong.
Oh, NetherRealm, like that sounds like a nice licensing nightmare, but like
I hate Man Spider. Or they'll mod a cutscene of Spider-Man going into the cocoon and then emerging with organic webs. I cannot wait to see the mods, but the most thing I can't wait is to just play the game, because all the costumes you have, you can use the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man, the Andrew Garfield, all of them. And it's the remastered version.
Oh, there is one mod that I am going to be downloading. Is to
What?
put the original head back on.
Yeah,
Like that is one mod that I am going to do. Like I'm going to put the original Peter Parker head back on because that new one, he looks way too young.
that's true. He does. I'm gonna put a beard on mine. The bearded Spider-Man. That would actually look pretty good. You know,
I mean, I'm sure there'll be a mod for it.
You know, there's gonna be a mod where we can just play as Peter Parker, and he'll be swinging, and no one will put together that he's Spider-Man.
There'll probably be like a costume for it or something.
Yeah, I know. I wish that they would do another Spider-Man game like Web of Shadows, where all of a sudden the symbiotes took over New York City, so it's like a zombie apocalypse. That was like one of the biggest like changes in free roaming ever, because all of a sudden you could just be attacked anywhere.
Oh, I'm just thinking of like the MJ replacements they could do. Like they could have Zendaya version or like Emma Stone,
MJ in a bikini. You know, there's gonna be memes for that.
Or like MJ kind of like the Kristen Dunst version. Like I can see them kind of like changing the model character to be more like or Tobey Maguire's face, or like
there's a mod. Imagine there's a mod where it's just a young ultimate Mary Jane. I'm like, and by the way, guys, this is in no way unrealistic based upon, because I've seen a few Mass Effect mods that are like, oh.
I mean, once it goes to computer, all bets are off.
Oh yeah, it's gonna turn it. The game takes a life of its own. Oh like, no! One of the costumes like will be Master Chief.
You want cancer? Look up Skyrim mods, like how crazy Skyrim modding can get. Like
no, but dude,
I put Ciri from The Witcher 3 into my Skyrim game. I put Jean Grey into my game.
Dude, there'll be a Master Cheeks mod where he just takes off his helmet for no reason. All right, guys. So, man, that conversation went all over the place. We went from favorite creative teams to DC versus Marvel to Spider-Man games.
I mean, you know how it is. When I'm here, it's chaos.
Chaos
control.
Yeah, it's the Chaos Space Marines, brother. So, all right, guys, I think that's a good place to leave it for this week. Hope you guys enjoyed this live stream. Nick, it's always a pleasure having you on.
Always a pleasure to distract you.
Oh, of course. Thank you for that, by the way. Wait, how many times has he screwed around with Black Cat? Oh, many times, I'm sure.
I mean, to be fair, I don't blame him for that.
Oh, yeah. Aren't there universes where they end up together instead of Peter and MJ?
Probably. I mean, there's a universe where him and Gwen ended up, and they made 2 movies out of it.
Except the way they ended up, she didn't end up pretty well. She ended up taking a splat.
Let's just say her time was up.
She had to catch a train. Let's just say she took a bit of a tumble.
And let's just say Spider-Man, he ran out of reach.
And let's just say she had to replace some gears.
I guess you could say her character fell flat on her face.
Oh my gosh. Well, actually, it was flat on her back, so there you go.
Well, I guess it was nice that her character was rather snappy.
I loved in that scene where the web became a hand. That was ridiculous.
That was kind of corny. Like I can't believe is they actually showed her hitting the ground and whatnot. Like I was like, you guys went there. Like you guys didn't have to.
It would have been equally as horrible if like it faded away right as she hit, and then you saw Peter's face as she hit. Like,
yeah. I don't know. The fact that they showed it, I feel, make it all that more horrifying.
Yeah, and it wasn't like in the comics where he just caught her. No, she hit the ground.
Yeah.
All right. So on that morbid note,
Morbius note,
it's morbid time.
I
love how that was re-released and it didn't do well. So.
Did you see that Jared Leto did like a TikTok where he was like reading the script and it said it's Morbin time?
Yeah, I love that. You see how many people made like YouTube videos of like him fighting Venom and going, "It's Morbin time."
Like I gotta say, I really like how the meme is like pretending like Morbius is like the greatest movie ever. Actually, I like the whole. It's kind of like a whole layer of subtlety to it. I just love it.
Hey, did you guys forget my LGBT message. What do you think? Am I wrong? Let me see. What was the message you left?
Yeah,
I just want
yeah.
to
Well,
see.
could you repeat it, please?
Yeah, repeat it and we'll answer it.
Yeah, sorry, we kind of got caught up in. Well, I got
And
caught up
making
in
memes about people dying in movies. And
Yeah,
also,
we're kind of some a-holes, so.
well, some more than others.
I mean, honestly, I thought that was kind of a good way for Andrew Spider-Man to go like all dark and whatnot.
Yeah,
Plus,
exactly.
the whole played into the character development he had in the movie, so it worked out well.
Yeah, so we did Q, dude. That was Casada, and we talked about it.
Mm-hmm.
I hate Life Story. Well, yeah. I hate Man Spider. Yes, most people do.
I hate man babies.
Man babies, yeah, they're the worst. They took the human aspect away from Spider-Man. That's
true.
They
made they he wasn't a human, he was a spider,
which was so. A lot of the weird choices they make in these movies, I'm like, who is authorizing this?
Probably some coked up producer who wants to make their mark on the movie and doesn't care if it sinks the ship.
No, when even the comics too. What editor says, "Oh, that's a good idea"?
Oh, you mean like retconning Gwen Stacy and Norman Osborn? Which they've since retconned back.
Yeah, because that's stupid.
Like even they realize just how bad of an idea that is. Like, okay, we're gonna like pretend this never happened, and we're moving.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, what the? When I read that storyline, I was like, wait, what? Wait, let me see. They would actually do LGBT film that doesn't reek of looking at me that I'm progressing. Oh, you mean they would make a movie about a gay character in a
where
way
their
that
soul defining character, where their soul defining characteristic wasn't them being gay, and them being gay was just simply a part of their character, just like any other character trait for any other character.
Honestly,
thereby making them an interesting character.
Honestly, Andrew, I don't think they would, because the majority of people in Hollywood right now are not creative enough for that.
Yeah, and that's the thing they don't realize is once they realize, like, hey, we can put gay characters in our movies and people won't care as long as it's not in your face and they're not, like.
Plus, I'm sorry. Not only that, when they make them the gay stereotypes, because whenever you see a gay dude in a movie, he's always the most effeminate, like, oh my gosh, type of dude. Always in these movies.
You want, like, seriously, gay dudes can be just as manly as straight dudes. I mean, look at Freddie Mercury. That guy was manly as frick, and he was as gay as the day is long. Like, seriously, that guy was more manly than most men out there, and he was as gay as can be,
Yeah, they can do. It's possible to do it, but I don't think the majority of people.
I think they lack the capability of writing such a nuanced character.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like, and the only time they're able to do that is just so they can look progressive. That's it.
I mean, they have done it sometimes. Like I'm like Mr. Terrific on Arrow. They handled that beautifully. Like there was kind of like few like, oh, I'm gay, or like, even on The Flash, the police chief was gay, and it's like they just had, oh, I'm gay, or like they showed scenes of the husband, but like they just played it like, hey. They just played it like it's just a normal couple, like just a different gender. Like they just played it the same way they would any other couple. It just happened to be same sex, and that's what people want. They don't want the stuff thrown in their faces. Like if you just normalize it, which is what gay people have been doing since like the 2000s. And like also, honestly, so much progress has happened in like 2000 up until now because they just normalize people being gay. You're just a normal person. Just instead of me liking chicks, I like dudes, and that doesn't make me any different from them. You are just different preference, and like you got that into people's heads, and that's why when gay marriage passed, people were like, whatever, or hey, cool, good for you guys. Like there wasn't really the widespread hate.
Getting to what Andrew's saying about the comics don't get that. Remember, they made Superman Superman, it's not Superman, it's just his son. Just so they made him Superman so they could say Superman's bisexual, then made him an evil character. That's another thing. They also make the gay characters the bad guys. I'm like, that's there's a word for that, and it starts with H.
Actually, it was going to be big. I was going to do bigoted, but
Well, yeah, that's true, but a more specific. I'm like, it's a phobic word. I'm like, what? you could have easily played off that, but
It's homophobic.
and also
It's homophobic. I'm going to say the words you can't.
yes, and also yeah, you could do that. I was just making a thing, but also and then they pick characters to all of a sudden declare that they're bi or gay that have no indication that they've ever been this way.
You have a psychic mind are them.
Oh yeah,
like
that part.
Like,
Bendis, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Like it's like Bobby, you're gay. No, I'm not. I read your mind. You're gay.
Bendis took lots of heat for that one. Oh,
that is so freaking wrong.
That is the worst way you could do that.
Like that's why I say it's mind RAPE.
Yeah, that's what I'm convinced. Actually, he's not actually bi. It was just implanted in there by Jean Grey.
Or maybe he just had some gay tendencies, and he misinterpreted it as him being full on gay. Because believe it or not, sexuality is a spectrum. Like you can be full on gay, full on straight, or just have shades of it yourself.
Or you could just enjoy watching a video of Henry Cavill building a PC.
That too.
Yeah, but
I'm not gay. I just like attractive men building PCs. Like, oh, he's building a miniature. Oh, he's got his sleeveless shirt off. Look how strong he looks as he does this stroke. Look how he's stroking the sword. Sorry, I'm sorry. I kind of took it.
It's all good. That was set up like too well for you to let that joke. That was low hanging fruit, my friend. I'm cool with that. But yeah, Andrew, I definitely agree with you. And that's, by the way, I don't think I told you this, Nick, and then I'll sign off. But I want to tell you guys a story. I took heat for a video I put out for this reason. All right, so I put out a video that said that DC needs a reboot. It's like one of the most top viewed videos on my channel. And it's basically saying that DC's continuity is a mess now. They should use Dark Crisis to reboot the continuity. All right.
So it's a day that ends in Y. Like, literally at any point in time, DC needs a reboot. Like,
yeah. So you agree? At no point does that sound homophobic, right?
I'm trying to wrap my head around it. Like,
all right,
I can see it being controversial. Like, I can see people being mad, thinking it doesn't need it. But like, to kind of jump from that to homophobic, it started that. It started that leap in logic. I can't comprehend it.
Here's how it got to that point, and this was on the chat forum. So it started off as them arguing, well, DC doesn't really need a reboot. They kind of explained these contradictions well. It started off as a good conversation about does DC need a reboot and the stuff. So here's how it got to that point. Then someone said, if they do a reboot, that'll get rid of all the gay characters. And I said, no, because Jonathan Kent will still exist. They'll just de-age him. And they say, but he won't be bi anymore. And I'm like, not necessarily. And then they said, and then I brought up, but these characters also don't sell. It's demonstrable when you look at like Jonathan Kent's Son of Kal-El. The only two issues that sold well were the first issue and the one where he came out as bi. And that's just because of the comic speculators. So, and then that's where the whole conversation went downhill, particularly when they asked me, if these characters aren't popular, then why doesn't DC cancel them? This is what I responded with, because DC doesn't want the backlash that would come from canceling the gay Superman.
Yeah, it's literally worth it more to them to have a lower print run and keep shipping it to stores than it would be to cancel it.
Yeah, which I anticipate that they are going to do a reboot and bring back the actual Justice League characters that everyone actually wants to read.
I mean, it's just stunt. It's just like stunt, whatever. Like they that's what they've been doing these past, Marvel and DC. They want the headlines. They want people talking about it on Twitter, but Twitter talk doesn't necessarily translate into actual sales. And now that Zaslav's in charge of Warner Brothers, he's trying to get everything in the house. We'll kind of see what happens in the next few years.
Oh, I guarantee you that was Zaslav in charge. We're gonna have a de-wokified DC because
in Zaslav we trust.
In Zaslav we trust. We saw what he did with the CW. He hacked that thing to the bone.
Yeah, honestly, and then they announced Gotham Knights. I think probably what Gotham Knights was probably just it was in production before, so he couldn't really stop the train.
Well, he could still do that. Do not doubt the power of Zaslav's axe.
Well, I think probably what's going to happen is what I think is going to happen with Gotham Knights is it's not going to run for 3 seasons. It might not even run for a full season. I think they're going to wait to see what the ratings are for the first few episodes, and then they might cancel. They're probably going to cancel it before midseason. That's my prediction.
Or they could do what they did with Swamp Thing for some reason. Cancel it a few days before the show premieres.
I mean, sure.
Which is sad because Swamp Thing was actually a really good show. I really enjoyed that.
Yeah, I was kind of messed up. I hope they bring it back.
Me too. That's the one show the CW should bring back and just give it all to HBO Max. That's it. All right, so now that I've told you guys my story, we're going to end it here. Andrew and Daryl, I loved receiving your comments. You guys had some great stuff. YouTube PJOs. And a like, comment, subscribe. We do these every Saturday, most likely with Nick from the Phoenix Press. Check out his comics. He makes some pretty high-quality work. And I will see you guys next Saturday for our next live stream. All right. See you guys later. Stay heroic.
Bye-bye.